Personally, I've spent a lot of time by myself in the jungles of southern India, in the Himalayas. Now every year I spend time in Tibet. These days it's very difficult for me to be alone. People are all the time.
And do you like that? Is that something that you now seek, that time alone, or
I'm
is it…
at my best when I'm alone.
And why is that? Why do you think that is?
Because I don't mess with myself. People sit by themselves and mess with themselves and make a mess out of themselves. If they stay alone, they'll go crazy, a whole lot of people. If one enjoys being alone, it means they are definitely better organized psychologically, emotionally, far better organized than others. One of the important processes of spiritual sadhana we give, the tools that we offer, is always to go into silence. People go into silence. From 3 days to 3 years, 4 years like this, people go on silence, not saying a word to anybody. Well, in today's world where if they're having breakfast, they must take a picture of the breakfast, I'm having breakfast, if I'm going to the toilet, I'm going to the toilet. And when this is the world, to just shut up and sit in one place takes a lot. Initially it looks like a struggle, but once you really taste what it is, you can't be without it. You just can't be without it.
So it's been a minute since I've thought out loud about non-musical stuff. Just regular life, philosophy, however you want to look at it. Usually I talk about music because that's what I like to do. I like to think a lot too, but that's usually a little extra that I care to share with most people. But I have like some consistent resting thoughts that's just always at the top of my mind, and there's just been a lot going on up there lately, so I just want to put it out there. The first resting thought is questioning the program. Because I think we all have a program about how we operate, like computers. Like computers just try to mimic human thought and processing. So we all have a program that we either inherited or I guess kind of put together ourselves by consciously selecting and rejecting other things. Most times it's an inheritance that we don't know about, just past experiences and things that happened to us that added to how it is we move forward in life. And for me, it's always a question of trying to be aware of the program and seeing if you like your programming. Because if you don't like your programming and you're aware of it, then you can change it, which is good. If you're not aware of it and you're having bad experiences, then you're in trouble. But it's always going back to operating in this way. Let me check why. Let me make sure I understand what's going on within me, that kind of way. Second resting thought would be like mental limiters. And what I mean is, based on the program, we have things set up in our mind that tell us what we can and can't do or dictate how we feel, believe it or not. Because our feelings are informed by experience or what we understand or what we know to be true. So on the thought of limiters is like, there's a lot of things that we feel like we can't do or we feel like we shouldn't do. And like I said, it's mostly a questioning of why, especially if your limiters don't serve you in a positive way. There are desires that we have, like goals, intentions, ambitions that, we want to experience. But because of our limiters, it tells us that, don't do that. That's not going to be good. Or if you try to do it, it's going to make you feel bad. It's an interesting thing, like I say, because it's just a thing up here that maybe if we question it enough, we might understand it enough. but maybe not. Third thing would be appreciation for just general existence and experience. We look at life and we get really attached to things. It's human nature, is what they say. Attachment. We look at life, and as we start to experience things that we like, we try to hold on to it for as long as possible. Even life itself. I guess even the idea of trying to prolong your life might be an attachment to life itself. But it could also be just an appreciation, depending on how you look at it. But when it comes to things outside of us, we definitely try to cling to, hold on to for as long as possible, make it a part of us, integrate it into us, to the point where sometimes even we identify with these things or other people. And that's not usually something that makes for a good experience. Just because all these things are passing, that's just the nature of it. These things that they come and they go, whether they be, driving on the road, you see trees, look up in the sky, you see clouds pass, waves going back and forth, people coming in and out of your life. It's just a part of life, and I think it's the perspective of holding on and forgetting to appreciate that usually makes the experience a little sour when it comes to indulging in whatever it is we have, creating expectations about things, about how this is supposed to go, or even projecting about a thing based on, once again, even the program. So these kind of things, they work hand in hand in my mind. I ain't claiming to be no renowned philosopher or anything like that. It's just resting thoughts.